Moving on, the United States has blamed the Hamas for rejecting a temporary Gaza truce, as it presses Israel again to allow more aid into the enclave. As per officials, Hamas has received a proposal from Egypt and Qatar for a short-term truce in exchange of release of 4 hostages and rejected it for not including a lasting ceasefire to the war. Now, this dashed hopes of a deal and hostage release before the U.S. elections that may result in the return of Donald Trump to the White House. Now, in a telephonic call with Egyptian Foreign Minister, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that Hamas has once again refused to release even a limited number of hostages to secure a ceasefire. Blinken, quote-unquote, emphasized the importance of bringing the war in Gaza to an end, securing the release of all hostages, and increasing and sustaining the delivery of humanitarian assistance. Blinken also spoke with Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and urged further actions to substantially increase the humanitarian aid in Gaza. And of course, this comes after the U.S. government demanded Israel to take concrete measures to address the dire humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But the State Department says it has not seen a significant turnaround in aid reaching Palestinians in northern Gaza. Washington has told Israel it must take steps in the next month to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza or face potential restrictions on U.S. military aid. This is the strongest such warning since Israel's war with Hamas began a year ago. Meanwhile, the Israeli military said it struck the intelligence headquarters of Hezbollah's Syrian branch in a strike on Damascus. As per reports, the attack killed 2 people. The IDF has intensified its strikes on targets in Syria since it launched a war against the Hezbollah in Lebanon. On the other front, Hamas held talks with rival Palestinian faction the Fatah in Cairo to discuss the war and their moves towards national consensus. Hamas and Fatah are long-term rivals that fought in 2007, in which Hamas seized control of Gaza. But Fatah continues to dominate the Palestinian Authority, which has limited administrative control over areas of the West Bank. A senior Hamas official on Monday talked down the impact of the upcoming U.S. elections, saying that they, quote-unquote, do not concern the movement and our Palestinian people. Osama Hamdan also called upon the winner to listen to voices within the United States demanding an end to the war. Of course, now our correspondent Jody Cohen joins us live from Renana in Israel. Jody, now with the U.S. going to polls, are the results likely to affect any future negotiations?
Hi, Isha. So Vice President Harris has made clear that she would continue the policies of the Biden administration if she wins. She said that she would continue to work around the clock for a ceasefire and hostage release deal, that Hamas cannot be allowed to control Gaza, and that she would also work for a 2-state solution for security for Israelis and the Palestinians, and to ensure that Israel has the ability to defend itself against Iran and its proxies. So if Harris wins, we can expect to see more of the same, and the negotiations are likely to continue. If President Trump wins, Trump has reportedly told Prime Minister Netanyahu that he wants to see Israel win and all the hostages freed quickly, and for it to be over by the time of inauguration, which we know is in January. Trump has said that he wants to see the Middle East return to peace, but he said he would get it done properly so that the fighting doesn't repeat itself every 5 or 10 years. And most commentators are interpreting this as meaning a crushing defeat for the terror groups.
That's as the Republican presidential nominee goes. Tell us, how is the mood in Israel ahead of the American election?
I would say that the mood is one of anticipation, actually not just about the US elections, but also about if Iran could potentially strike Israel today. And there have been reports that Iran's expected strike against Israel could come any time around the elections or potentially closer to inauguration. Now, in terms of the election winner, there's been a recent poll that showed that 65% of Israelis support President Trump to win. And the poll suggests that that's because of steps steps that he took in the first term, such as the Abraham Accords, which were the first peace treaties between Israel and Arab countries since the 1990s, the fact that he recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights and moved the US embassy to Jerusalem. But Israel's government has made clear that it would continue to work closely with whoever wins the next election.
Thank you, Jody, so much for those inputs. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.